There was a time in my life when I experienced a significant personal tragedy. And it doesn't matter what it was, because what's tragic to me might be completely insignificant to you. Just like whatever your personal tragedy is tragic to you, but not necessarily tragic to anyone else. Well, the point is that people kept on, during this time, coming up to me and hugging me. Let me tell you now, when I'm angry and hurt, don't hug me. Just leave me alone. But anyway, the worst part about it, that aside, was the things they kept saying. They kept saying things like, don't worry, it's for the best. Really? How is it that something that has left me hurt and devastated is for the best? Please, I beg you, when consoling people in the midst of their personal tragedy, do not act like you know why it happened or what the fallout is going to be. You do not. The night of my personal tragedy, my best friend came to the house, and he brought with him the thing that would come closest to being healing, a bottle of 23-year-old scotch. And we sat together and we drank that bottle of scotch, and the only thing I think he said during the whole night was, I feel terrible for you. That's what I needed most, was someone I loved to be present with me. So if you don't know what to say, that's okay. Nobody knows what to say. Just be there. Our introit for today is Psalm 55. And this is a psalm from King David. And we don't know exactly, because he doesn't identify what the exact circumstances of the psalm are, but we think that he is hearkening to a time when he suffered a personal tragedy. His trusted counselor, Ahithophel, how you like that for a name? I've recommended that to many parents and they never take it. Ahithophel betrayed him. It was his trusted counselor, and he had tried to arrange a plan where King David and his army would be slaughtered, and they were very close. Well, you can read the whole story for yourself in 2 Samuel 17. But King David was feeling very hurt and very betrayed by his confidant. And he learned, again, as we all do, that human beings are unpredictable and undependable. And once again, he had been left alone with no one but God. Move on to the Old Testament for today, and Jeremiah speaks to the same kind of problem in the Old Testament. There were false prophets going around and saying, hey, everything's going to be fine. Jeremiah calls them vain hopes, telling people what they want to hear to make them happy for the moment, leaves them empty in the end. And then Jesus comes along in the gospel. No one really likes this gospel, and it always makes me giggle a little bit to say this is the gospel of the Lord at the end of it, because it's not very gospelish, is it? He says, hey folks, I'm not here to bring goodness and light. I'm here to bring the sword. Goodness and light does not come until all the difficult stuff is done. He will bring division by his very presence, because Jesus is very polarizing. You have to have him for salvation, but having him rules out doing salvation any other way, including on your own. That's what he meant another time when he said, you can't serve two masters. There's only three masters in the universe. There's Jesus, there's Satan, and there's yourself. By serving Jesus, you automatically deny Satan and yourself. And by serving either of the other two, you automatically deny Jesus. So he can't help but be polarizing. It just is who he is. So we get through all these readings, and here's the thing. Bad stuff is going to happen. and things do not work out in this life. So there's no sense in going around and pretending that your life is just a bed of roses, because if you do that, I'm going to suggest that your roses smell an awful lot like sewage. Things are difficult. Life is an uphill struggle through the desert. And it's supposed to be that. We're the ones who choose Satan over God. We're the ones who choose to satisfy our own lusts and our own ambitions instead of serving God. We're the ones who choose to backbite and gossip and tear people down. We're the ones who choose lust and to steal and to disrespect authority. That's all us. None of it's God. So yes, we have been sent to the desert for a time out. But we have not been sent without hope. We have been sent with a promise. God promises us unequivocally that we will have salvation from this desert when it is time. When it is His time, not ours. So as we make our way through this desert, seems to me David is pretty wise in his analysis. He says, cast your burden on the Lord, and He will sustain you. And He will never permit the righteous to be moved. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not yourself from my plea for mercy. See, we have no magic words with which to fix the problems that we face, much less the problems that anyone else faces. So never pretend that you can say or do the right thing that'll make everything better. We cannot. But what we do have, sans magic words, we do have God who sustains us. That's why we come here week after week, to be strengthened by His Word, to be nourished by His very body and blood, for the very reason that we do not have the magic words. This, my friends, is a desert. And I guarantee you one thing, things will not work out. However, having said that, I can promise you this. While things will not work out, the day will come when you and I walk out. Soon. Very soon our Lord will return for us, and we will walk out of this desert, and we will walk into the promised land where there is no hurt, there is no sorrow, there are no tears, there is no fear. And at that point, any hardships, any personal tragedies that we had in our lives will not matter in the least to us. And until that day, God walks by our side. And God sustains us moment by moment. So, if you feel as though things are going to hell in a handbasket, you are absolutely correct. They absolutely are. And they always have been since Adam and Eve chose to eat the forbidden fruit and got thrown out of the garden. Sometimes we get little breaks. Sometimes it seems like things might actually go right. Those are little oases in the desert that we need. God gives us those little rest times. But overall, things are going to continue to deteriorate. Don't like the 100 Years' War? Try World War II. Or how about ISIS? Don't like that? Well, how about the Black Plague? Or, hey, maybe cancer. Or, superbugs. Anytime we begin to think that we are the least little bit in control, something new comes along and knocks us flat on our self-righteous rear ends. And King David feels for us. As you read King David, he experienced everything we experience. And in the end, he turned to God. He said, "But I call to God, and the Lord will save me." That's the bottom line, you see. Whatever your personal heartache is, there's only one solution. I call to God, and He will save me. Period.